Medusa comes out though. And, well, Viking pretty much going the exact opposite of what they did last game. I like the Medusa pick. There's not really much to go through that mana pool. You've got a Wraith King with 2 lives, sure, but the thing is heroes don't necessarily like running into a Medusa with Stone Gaze. It can be quite a painful process.
5 seconds remaining.
A Wraith King as well has quite a low mana pool, so that Mystic Snake can be kind of frustrating. Even that little bit of mana you take off the Wraith King just makes it so he has to think, do I really want to throw out this Wraith Fire Blast? I'm going to have no mana left afterwards for reincarnation. Decisions have to be made. I like the Medusa. It just kites the Wraith King around. Especially if you do get to that point where you have something like an Eye of Skadi up, it makes it very hard to close the gap. And Dusa doesn't really care for Silencer. The Global Silence does nothing as long as she has the Mana Shield already up, which she usually just has it permanently up once you get into the mid game. She won't really mind.
Radiant team pick.
Final bans. Void Spirit and Monkey King being removed. Viking, they'll take the Kunkka themselves. You've already got this huge tanky lineup of Legion Commander Medusa Kunkka now. The boat run buff is going to make it that much harder to fight into. This already looks like a very, very tough game for Cyber Legacy.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
It might take a while to make this final pickup. You really don't have a way to deal with the Dusa. You do have ways to deal with the Kunkka, but it's just once he's got the boat out, it's just very, very tough. You'd love to pick up something like a mid-storm spirit here, but the problem is you're fighting into a Legion Commander and a Kunkka. So you've already got the counters towards the storm if they did want to go that route. You could try to run the Pos 1 Ricky or maybe even a mid Ricky, but that would just be hellish up against the Medusa. It's going to be a hard final pick. Okay, that's one you could go for. So Cyber Legacy now, with this Razor last pick, they've basically transitioned. They're not really going for this kind of mid to late game draft. It's going to be more early to mid. So you've got this Razor who dominates lanes. You've got this Wraith King who can summon all these skeletons. And you've got a Beastmaster who can just summon boars and get a Helm of Dominator, can get the Necro 3 book. And essentially, I think Cyber Legacy, all they're going to need to do is just keep the pressure up and do what Viking did to them last game. Just don't let up the pressure. Take over map control, take towers very, very quickly. And do not let this Medusa get to the point where she's 6 slotted, because at that point the game's over. Viking, they're just going to have to just wait out the storm that's coming. It's going to be a rough one. The early game should definitely be Cyber Legacy favored. It's going to be a very tough lane for Boom. Kunkka versus Razor. It's a disgusting matchup for a Kunkka. Really, Razor versing anyone is disgusting. We do have our standard pause at the start of the game. I wouldn't quite blame Viking if they kind of just switched it up and put Shad mid on the Medusa. So I just think this mid lane for a Kunkka is just too difficult. You can still secure CS and harass with Tidebringer, but every time you come close, you're going to get static linked. So you'd rather see them put the Medusa mid. At least you can just spam Mystic Snake and secure CS from a range.
You're all washed up.
I almost feel bad.
Well, we'll get the game started.
I almost feel bad.
Admiral is on board.
See how I'm very intrigued to see how Boom deals with this. Looks like he is gonna just straight up rush some phase boots, which should help
Admiral is on board.
breaking that gap between you and the Razor.
Thirty seconds to battle.
They are going to keep Shad in that bot lane as the Medusa, and there appears to be a very, very deep Observer Ward already. Does indicate Cyber Legacy are going to be trying to keep their eyes on this Dusa, make sure she's not having a good time.
The battle begins.
You do somewhat have the tools to deal with her early, it's just later on you don't. It will be a 2 for 2 on those bounty trades, so nothing really changing there. A very even start between these two. Toby and Aramis going to be up there again in the off lane. This time around, they'll be up against the Wraith King, being played by Palantamos. Of course, you do have Bignum there on the Silencer, who should be a pretty big menace against Toby. And of course, Aramis. Just Silencer in lane is always a headache. Mid lane, Pikachu does go for his first static link. Does find himself 32 damage.
Step lively now.
Boom will be okay with that. It's not too high. Does wear off now. Get back to securing some CS. Of course, down at the bot lane, Lil and Chappie are going to be there on the Disruptor Beastmaster, and Celery is going to be there with Shad on the Medusa Snapfire. Poor Chappie, he's going to be able to have to taking all these Mystic Snakes over and over again. I mean, once you get a few more levels on the Beastmaster, at least your balls can kind of harass the Medusa out a little bit. It's still going to be rough though. Medusa's right-click damage is already so high. Aramis gonna find Bignum. Toby gonna join in. And, well, never mind. Bot lane. Apparently the first blood's already there. Shad is the one to pick it up on the Medusa. I apologize for missing that kill. I didn't expect it to be the first one, as Bignum now gonna also go down up a top lane. But how the hell did they find a first blood with a Medusa Snapfire? I mean, yeah, you got Cookie Scatter Blast. They're both level 1, and apparently Shad with just level 1 Mystic Snake, was able to secure the kill on this Disruptor. It's quite an unexpected kill to say the least. It does happen. Already 2-0 for Viking.gg. The brighter side, Pikachu is naturally winning his lane on the Razor. Boom. Still doing okay with 9 last hits. But Pikachu is really getting far ahead. 18 and 12 now on that Razor. This was to be expected. It may just force Boom, instead of just sitting in the mid lane and farming for a while, it may force him to rotate very, very early on. And try to find kills and set up some farm that way. Celery getting pretty low. Should die here. Thunderstrike should take him out. And yeah, Lil, he will find him. Celery. Gotta be careful when you try and have a harass war with the Disruptor, as Thunderstrike is such a good ability to have in those instances. Boom. Already being forced to just hit neutral creeps. XTP into the fountain. And he'll be back very, very soon.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on
So
board.
that's the only way you can keep up with this Razor. In fact, Boom might even start setting up for the opposing neutral creeps as well. Gets very unlucky though. Doesn't get the power rune down at the bot lane. So he'll start moving into the Dire side. And he's actually going to creep skip this. Now this is very interesting. But this is a way you can do with the Razor. Just take the creep wave to your tier 1 tower instead. Or perhaps just bring it to your neutral camp instead. And I think that's what Boom's planning to do. Just try to get as much efficiency out of his farm as possible. You have Tidebringers, so you can make it fairly quick. Pikachu realizes what's going on. He doesn't want to have to tank this whole creep wave like this. And this is actually very clever from Boom on the Kunkka. Forcing the Razor into an uncomfortable situation. Still, Pikachu will realize quick and sort that out as top lane Toby going to be able to find a kill onto Bignum now on the Silencer. And that's going to give Viking.gg their third kill of the game. Pikachu almost finding the kill onto the Kunkka. He will TP out and get away. And Pikachu, where are you going? He'll also TP back to the fountain. Picks up his treads and looks like he just wanted to reset before he comes back into the mid. Meanwhile, Celery gonna get caught here by Chappie. He will have Shad right behind. He tries for the cookie, but it does not allow you to jump out of kinetic field, though Lil does manage to finally pick up the kill, and now Shad really needs to get the hell out. There's no roar available quite yet on Chappie, so Shad is just perfectly fine. But Legacy, they have really started applying some pressure and some lane dominance down at this bot lane. Should only get better for this Beastmaster as his levels go up. Boom again, gonna cop a static link mid. Pikachu gonna get very lucky. He finds himself a haste rune. Doesn't have static link to use, and well, the siege creep was chasing, so they do know he's got the haste, so he won't be able to rotate either. Bit unfortunate he can't capitalize on that haste. Celery bot lane again gonna cop a lot of harassment out from Lil. At least luckily for him, Lil is sort of out of regen. He does still have 6 magic stick charges. If he takes one more Thunderstrike, he may just die, as Lil can just follow up with a few right clicks. They are even sending the boar over with Lil to get that added slow off. And yeah, Celery, he's probably dead. Kinetic Field's gonna hold him in. The boar's attacking. Does he actually get out of this? Does use his own stick charges, and Cookie, he will turn around now. Lil gonna be the target. Celery, he does not die. Oh, that's just brilliant. Shad telling him to turn around and man up. And it works out for the best. 4-2 now, 7.5 minutes in. Still a slight net worth lead coming out from Cyber Legacy, but that is mostly just Pikachu on the Razor. You have it 3.4k in terms of net worth on this Razor. Make it 3.5 now. Boom. X, Bone, gonna be there into the torrent. Aramis now gonna rotate in, but where's the follow-up damage? You've just been static linked, so you don't have any right-click damage on Boom, but you have Celery coming in. Lift, Scatter Blast gonna be there. Pikachu, he does get stunned up. Great rotations from Viken. This will give a bit of much-needed time to this Kunkka to actually get some CS. Never mind, Boom, he's too low on HP anyway. He's gonna have to go back to the fountain. At least I guess you get a bit more XP out of it. That was a level 8 Razor. Spot lane. The first roar of the game is going to come out. Shad getting very, very low. He has no mana left. Torrent is going to connect. Boom. He'll rotate in, but Shad is almost certainly just going to go down. Boom doesn't really have a boat to follow up with. That TP, not going to be the greatest from Boom. I tell you, so far so good for Cyber Legacy. It doesn't look great if you look at the kill score, but in terms of farm, they are doing fantastic. Moss really is starting to apply some pressure here on Toby. You are at that level 6 mark on this LC, so you do have Jewel, and it looks like Boom, he does come up now. They're going to go after Bignum. X going to be there. Toby should be able to get this Jewel off very easily, and in fact, he doesn't. Oh, Toby underestimating how much damage your Kunkka does. He wanted to wait till after the boat flew in first, and then go for the final auto attack with the Jewel. It doesn't really matter too much. Now they'll smoke up and they'll still have it available, so they can find another kill. And it looks like they are going to try and chase onto Pikachu now. Toby, if he gets a Jewel off without static link, it's going to be a very, very easy pickup for the side of Viken.gg. It may be a little bit hard to break the distance though. It seems like this smoke is a little bit obvious. You already see the rotations. Glimpse, Toby, he's been trapped up. He's trying to go for a TP, but he will purge off all that. Goes back in. Now the Silence are going to get low, but he doesn't have mana for the Jewel. He doesn't need it. Lil, he will go down, but Bignum will finish off the kill. And Pikachu now, the Roar actually being stolen from Aramis. They'll turn it. Pikachu does go down. Chappie try to run away, but he's being blocked up by Boom, and this looks really bad now. As Cyber Legacy gonna lose a 3-for-1. We talked about it in the draft phase. When you draft against the Rubik, you've got to be careful about what heroes you pick up. And Roar is one of those abilities that Aramis will happily steal every single time. And the beauty of it is as well, is he's going to be able to use it 2 or 3 times before it does expire. So for the next couple minutes, you've got to be very concerned about where this Rubik is. Although Pikachu's having a great time, he might get jumped on now. X, Bo gonna fly in. Toby, he's ready with the Jewel. That's half his HP gone. Now the Jewel comes out and they have 4 heroes there. Scatter Blast straight to the face. And in fact, well, Bignum, he came in to try and help. It may be to no avail, or maybe it will be. The static or kinetic field is gonna hold them in place, but not long enough. as they do get the kill. Now Chappie, he's going to be forced to rotate in and defend this T1 mid tower. But it's not so easy when you're up against a Kunkka who can clear out those creeps very easily. Meanwhile, at least they are buying space for Plantamos. He's trying to rush a Radiance on this Wraith King. He will be scouted out by Celery, who actually steals 2 of his creeps. Bit unfortunate for Plantamos, but he'll make a chase now. He's still holding 1 point as well. It's just in case he needs reincarnation. But he hasn't got Wraith Fire Blast, so it makes it a bit hard to make any sort of chase on these supports. They know exactly where he is, so they smoke up. They find him. Boom. Can you get the X off? Not quite. He's not in range, but with those phase boots and the torrent connecting, it's going to be much easier. Plantamos, do you even bother? Not quite. You get jeweled up and you are going to die. And the tip comes out. Toby says, oh, you didn't skill up reincarnate? Well, that's fine. The top lane, Shad is going to die, and that's a huge kill coming out from Cyber Legacy, and immediately the counter tips come out. I don't know who I'd say was a bigger kill. It feels like the Medusa's a bigger kill, but then again, your Wraith King's rushing a Radiance. And generally speaking, when you rush a Radiance, you need it ASAP, because you're going to be so weak without it, because you've got nothing else. So in a sense, every time you kill Plantamos, it's arguably more effective. Up until he gets that Radiance. You can't really flash farm like a Medusa can either. So there's that. Aramis gonna rotate in. Plantamos does have reincarnation now, so it's gonna be a lot harder to try and go for that kill. Cyber Legacy, they have smoked up. They want to try and make plays of their own. They will have Roar up in about 9 seconds. Have to be a bit wary. There is going to be a Rubik around, I believe. Aramis not going to get scouted. They do spot out Shad. There's the Stone Gaze immediately being popped. And Toby starts rushing forward, looking for a dual temp, but you do have a Wraith King there as well. There's 4 heroes, in fact. Static Storm going to land as well. It's caught the Rubik. This looks really bad for the side of Viking GG as they will lose Shad, but Plantamos is also falling low. Still, boom. Now trapped up. Looks like he will also die. And there's the Global Silence coming out to cancel those Mortimer's Kisses. And that was just a very messy team fight from the side of Viking.gg. It is a 2-for-3 trade. They do barely manage to get Chappie before Celery dies. But you lost Medusa again. And she has hardly any farm. I mean, it's... You really want that mantra up very, very soon to really start farming fast, but it's just not the case so far. And Plantamos, I believe, is very close to his Radiance. He does pick up the Sacred Relic. Just needs the recipe now. I think as soon as you see that Radiance pop up on Plantamos, you probably just go for another smoke. Just take full advantage of it.
Regeneration.
Mid lane, Cyber League, keeping 4 heroes around.
Dire's top tower
They seem to believe that Viking is going to try for that mid tier 1 push, and they just aren't willing to let it go. And that's quite fair, because once you've lost that mid tier 1, it does open up both sides of the jungle. And so you do lose a lot of map control once that tier 1 mid's gone.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant are scanning.
Lil. Gonna spot out Aramis. TP is gonna be there. Lil, you do have Glimpse, and that means Aramis is probably gonna die here. He does get the Thunder Strike before he dies, but does he even use it? Not quite, Chappie. Lifted up. Aramis still being chased, and Lil does eventually claim the kill. Mid lane, there is a push going on. Snapfire Kisses flying out. Bignum, he's going to end up dying, but you do have a static link already there on the LC. Toby is going to be the trade. That is not a positive trade for the side of Viking.gg. In fact, they found Celery as well. And with all those kills, with all these creeps you have, you can start forcing this mid tier 1.
Is under attack.
There'll be no defense to come out from Viking. And now Cyber League,
Radiant's middle tower.
they are the ones in control of this game. Once, now that mid tier 1's gone, it makes it very difficult for Shad. Of course, Medusa loves farming the jungle, just getting rid of all those creep waves, going back into the jungle, farming more neutrals, and just repeating everything, but you've lost that mid tier 1. As you can see, he's currently being scouted by Beastmaster Hawk.
Dire's top tower has
So they can just keep tabs on him, see what he's up to, grab a smoke, find him, kill him, and just rinse and repeat. Viking.gg though, they have smoked up. They're going to try and at least counter push their own tier 1 mid as Boom, going to run in straight away, but misses a torrent. He's looking for that disruptor. He wants to get rid of the static storm. Shad, nice Manta dodge on the Wraithfire Blast. Meanwhile, they have jumped onto Pikachu. In fact, never mind, they want the Beastmaster though. No, they're turning around Chappie. He does finally drop a Shad. He's losing all his mana on this Medusa, and it looks like he's gonna die again. And now without the Medusa there, it's easy pickings. Toby, he gets glimpsed up. Cyber League, can you find more? Looks like they found Celery. There is going to be a cookie, but Plantamos looks like he's not done. Glimpse is going to be there from Lil, and that means the Snapfire will die. And Viking.gg, it just, that last team fight, it just seemed like they couldn't make up their mind as to who they were going for. Nice little deny play there from Aramis though. He does deny the outpost from the Dire's side, so they don't get that 20-minute XP. But if your Medusa's going to join these engagements, you kind of have to keep her protected. You can't just run off and try to find some support pickoffs while she's standing there in the river. You've got to stay nearby, make sure she's not getting jumped on. And due to that last team fight, this is what happens. The Roshan will go down now. Cyber Legacy. Claim a very, very easy Aegis. It'll be Pikachu to take it on the Razor.
Dire's bottom tower.
And it looks like they found another target. Static kinetic field going to be there to lock in the Snapfire. She'll have Cookie in a second, but Wraithfire Blast going to come in. She does get the Cookie off, but the Radiance Burn will eventually take her life. Now Cyber Legacy, they are in the groove. It's going to be very, very hard to slow these guys down at this pace. Mid lane, Boom. Glimpse back again. Static Link gonna be there. Toby hops the drums. He wants to rush in. Clumsy Net, they're gonna hold him in, and now the Kinetic Field Static Storm just gonna hold him back as the roar comes out from Chappie. Pikachu found Boom, and this LC falling low. Shad, he pops the Stone Gaze, but is it to any avail? Pikachu pops his own BKB, trying to get out of this weird situation he's put himself in. He does still have the Aegis, but Toby is still chasing. Now Plantamos comes in, clears out Toby. And it looks like that's going to be it. That Plantamos is falling low, but he has Reincarnation as well, so chances are you're not going to kill him twice. The 17 to 17 now, 6k net worth lead.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Boy oh boy, Cyber Legacy.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Just dominating this game so far. A 7k net worth lead. And in case you weren't aware, that's what 7k net worth looks like. It's pretty much been in their way the whole time. Of course, they've also got a huge XP advantage. There is going to be another smoke.
Illusion.
Aramis trying to split push the top lane, but he's going to get caught out. Well, you kind of know this is coming when you split push as a support. You know you're going to die at some point. He does go down. Toby going to try and find a straggler, but unfortunately for him, the only stragglers there are the Razor and Plantamos on the Wraith King.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They don't mind fighting, even by themselves. Meanwhile, how's Shad doing? Trying to buy a BKB. He definitely needs it, but it's not going to help.
Dire's bottom tower.
I don't think it helps him defend.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
I think Cyber Legacy, if they really wanted to, they can go high ground right now, but they will play a bit more hesitantly. Just take their time. There is still a T2 top tower, so they rotate there instead.
Top tower is under attack.
Plantamos, he's almost pretty close to his AC now. This Jewel gonna come out. He's a very, very tanky target. It's gonna take 4 heroes to take him out, and he's still got a secondary life as the boat will fly in. Stone Gaze as well. They are gonna be able to find him, and now the Stone Gaze, they've caught out Pikachu. The race is on. Boom, he runs in, but he has been roared, but it has been stolen as well. Straight back onto the Razor. Now the Global Silence to cancel off those Mortimer's Kisses. But look at this Medusa, still willing to fight Pikachu. She's got full mana up, she's ready to go. The huge Static Storm Kinetic Field coming out from Lil, but it will not matter. He's going to die anyway. It does allow his team to back off. And that is a massive team fight for Viking.gg. I thought after the first Wraith King death, that was it. How are you going to take him out a second time? But they just had the boat flying in already. He didn't have his armlet toggled on. And I think that was the key. You had all that HP and armor missing. And because the boat stunned him as soon as he respawned, he couldn't get it off in time because the Jewel came in straight after. And it seems like that's what they need to do. As long as they can kill him,
Scanning.
we'll try to kill him while his armlet's toggled off. Things become a lot easier. So with the armlet toggled on, he does have a bonus 500 HP. I'm not really sure how much armor he gets. In fact, never mind. It's plus 4 armor. That is substantial. Especially at 25 minutes into the game. It's not going to slow him down too much.
Dire's top tower.
Still does have the Assault Cuirass. Almost done. He just needs to pick up that plate mail.
Illusion.
Shad finds a nice craggy coat. He's also got his full butterfly up now, and I actually agree with that. I think you needed the extra DPS rather than the BKB right now, if you are the Medusa. The BKB doesn't really pay off much, right? Like, you've got Global Silence and Static Storm, that's a problem for you as a Medusa. But everything else kind of already goes through it. This Bone gonna fly in, and they have poured out the Silencer. Celery will pick up the kill. But my point is, with that BKB, like, the Beastmaster Roar is still going to go through it. It makes it a little bit harder to burst him down, but ultimately, it's not going to phase them too much. So I do agree with that butterfly pickup. And in fact, he has queued up a Lincoln Sphere, which I think is arguably the smarter decision in this game. Even just having both, if he does opt to go for both. It is a bit more of an old school Medusa build, but it is still very effective. Still Cyber Legacy, understand they can't slow down. They are still fighting into a Medusa, and it gets tough. So they're going to keep trying to apply this pressure. Poor Toby, he only has 38 jewel damage so far. Not that it really matters, like, it's not about his damage right now on the LC, he just needs to get the right jewels off, but it always kind of sucks when you've only got this much at 28 minutes. And Shad, with his Mantra Illusions, does manage to take out the bot tier 1. It's a pretty late tier 1 tower, but it's still a nice little gold influx for your team. Can't say no to that. Meanwhile, Pikachu trying to go for an Aghanim Scepter. That will definitely help their cause. This Toby should just end up getting caught out. He's going to try and run to the tree line and avoid this gank attempt, but Lil has already found him. Kinetic Field going to be there. Thunderstrike was perched off. Can he actually TP out of this? Maybe he can now. They glimpsed him back. Toby? This is the part where you glimpse, sir. You TP, I mean, and he doesn't. Mid lane. They are going to find the Wraith King. Toby, he's brought back. The boat will fly out. It does connect once again with the Stone Gaze now. He got the armlet off this time, but is it going to matter? Wraith Fire Blast, stolen from the Rubik and used against him. Now the Jewel going to come out, but the Global Silence is already there and they don't have the follow-up. In fact, never mind, he didn't actually Jewel him. He was just right-clicking as Boom. Going to get caught on the Kunkka. Mortimer's Kiss has finally come out after the Global Silence, but Chappie, he's found the darn Snapfire. And Toby has also been glimpsed back. Clumsy net, going to be there from Chappie. Jewel to fly out. Still, can they actually take him down? They can. It's a messy team fight. They are still going to lose it in the end. The Cyber Legacy does find a 4-for-1 trade. And that's a pretty bad fight for Viking.gg. You've got to die back on this LC now. And Cyber Legacy theoretically should be able to force in a high ground push. I was a bit shocked before. I mean, I guess the reason why he didn't TP was because you still had a Yules available on Pikachu. So I guess he just held on to it. It probably was the smarter play in the end. Palantimos now going to move in with his team. That'll pretty much be it. Looks like they see Shad. They don't really want to have to push into a Medusa right now. So they'll let it go. Do have this nice Blink Dagger available though on Palantimos now. So he can really break the gap and initiate for his team if he has to. This man is going to get harder and harder to kill. They are going to go for the next Aegis. Second Roshan of the game, you do have the Aegis and Cheese. Viking.gg, they can't really afford to try and counter that Roshan play. They'll let it go. Cyber Legacy just looking so much better as time goes on. 11k net worth lead now. Shiva's Guard and Ags are up on Pikachu. Win probability looking pretty darn bad for Viking. 10% their way, 90% the way for Cyber Legacy. They still do have a lot of hope in this Medusa pick. But she needs so much more farm to be as effective as she needs to be. Of course, you do still have that level 25 talent, plus 1000 mana. always pretty nice.
You almost had that.
But I don't think that's really going to be the biggest game change of this game. I think she just needs to get more damage out. Like, she's going to go for a BKB. That's great.
Illusion.
It might be that point where you say, screw it, I need a Divine Rapier. After the BKB. There it is. And there's the Divine. She queues it up. Read my mind. Problem is Lil now has his own Aghanim Scepter on the Disruptor. So if you don't get that BKB off in time, you are going to get muted. It's going to be very, very hard to play into. There's 4-star Wraith Fire Blast on the Razor. They get the Jewel off as well. Can they burst him down in time? Global Silence going to be there to stop the kisses flying in, but the Razor is still very, very low. Pikachu, he does have an Aegis, but he is going to lose it. But now Shad, he's out of position. He can't BKB through that Static Storm, but it doesn't matter. He gets it off eventually, and it looks like they are going to keep fighting. Cyber League, they run back in. After the Conqueror it is. He's a pretty tanky target. I don't think they have the damage. Now, the Wraith being forced to eat the cheese. They do get the glimpse back onto Boom at least, so they do finally find the Conquer. But he'll buy back, and immediately they look to punish. Shad running in, smoke going to be popped. But Kinetic Field is going to hold them back, and they will not actually be able to capitalize at all. So you do lose the Aegis, you do lose the cheese for the cost, or for the price of a Conquer kill. But it's not the greatest trade. It's still good. You got the buyback out from the Conquer. But this may delay any kind of high ground attempt from Cyber League, which is definitely not what they want. Had you killed the Medusa at that point, she didn't actually have enough gold back then to buy it back. So that could have been an easy 1 or 2 Raxes, maybe even the game. But now Cyber Legacy, all they could really do is probably just keep forcing in these waves. Take over the jungles. Keep farming up neutral items. And just maintain control. And Shad, I mean, he'll happily oblige. Like, these creep waves pushing into a Medusa, she doesn't really mind too much. It's free gold for her. And although it's going to take quite a while, this Divine Rapier eventually will be up and ready to go. We do have a smoke. Cyber Legacy, they don't want to have to wait. See if they can find a pick off and go for another high ground attempt. Celery is probably aware they're there though, because they just dropped a sentry ward and he just de-warded it. He does ping them out. So that smoke attempt, not going to work. So top lane. Boom. Running out, looking for this disruptor. That's going to cost him. He gets an X off, but Static Storm going to be there. The Medusa will run out with the Stone Gaze, but it gets glimpsed back immediately. Global Silence also being there, and boom. I think that was a very preemptive gank attempt. As now Yule's up, Kinetic fielded up, Shad has to fight. Kisses to fly in. Where's the Global Silence? It's not actually available. It was already used up. Shad, he'll run back with his BKB. In fact, they got a jewel off onto Pikachu. Pikachu just so far out of position. Toby, though, gonna fall low, and in fact, Pikachu not gonna die. Toby still trying to run away. Shad, he buys back on the Medusa. Calanthamos, he'll lose his first life. But they'll go back for that Rax. Do they even get to finish it, though? They don't have a creep wave. And it looks like the answer is no. It may be just a slow siege coming up from Cyber Legacy now. As Toby gets glimpsed back, he'll be okay. You do now have a full hard up on Pikachu. So that makes things a little bit harder.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
Pikachu just going to happily walk in. Wraith Fire Blast going to be there on Celery. Pikachu, again, just so darn tanky. He doesn't care as Medusa getting caught up, and this is super bad. It's going to be a dieback. And Cyber Legacy, yeah, there's the GG call. They know they can't defend without this Medusa. And it's that easy. If they found the Medusa, they get Mega Creeps. And Viking.gg, they don't want to have to deal with that many creeps that long of a game. And with that, that's going to be our second game of the day finished. We will be going to a game 3 very, very soon. It looks like Cyber Legacy have gotten their... they've gotten together, right? They got a better draft. Their plays looked a lot smoother this game. And that should mean the third game should be a pretty interesting and close matchup. It is MLP Dota. I'll see you guys again very, very soon for that third match as soon as it's available.